All right, welcome everybody around the world. Welcome to all my subscribers. Mic check, mic check. All right. So I'll just give a quick synopsis of the following list from my research. A list of various sources that speak of a big event involving UAPs, UFOs next year. This event, in my opinion, isn't just about UFOs and that it's a biblical end days event that the UFOs are playing a part with, or part of. So, from the following sources, we hear about this big event that's supposed to be imminent. Okay, so here we go. Just a quick list. For starters, uh, most importantly, the biblical prophecies that highlight 2024 being the end of days. That goes perfectly in hand with the arrival of these cosmic beings, whether good or bad. And as I explain in my two books, the End Days book especially, and I even cover it a bit in the other book, even though it's unrelated. Um, we should, excuse me, we should expect to see the arrival of extraterrestrials, the heavenly messengers, both good and bad, in the end days. So the very fact, and this is why I'm starting with it, that the biblical prophecies uh, have highlighted this year, and we have the arrival of the mystery drones. I think these things with them, I mean, by themselves, within themselves, help prove that something is imminent. Okay, going off the Bible alone, something should be imminent, and it should involve extraterrestrials. Going by the mystery drones, the drone mystery itself, just the nature of it, what's happening, the mystery about it. Nobody knows where they're coming from. All the tight lips. That alone, that event within itself, suggests something is imminent. So when you combine these first two starting points, the Bible prophecies, and what is actually occurring now at the end of 2024, they go hand in hand. That's my point. Then we get into the third thing. I wanted to mention it next to get it out of the way. Is the two recent dreams I had. The only dreams in my life where I saw actual extraterrestrials, where I saw extraterrestrials. Um, I hate always repeating myself about the dreams, but the first dream, um, in essence, in retrospect, it was a drone like UFO because it was small, about 5 feet across, something like that, maybe 10 feet at the most, probably less than 10, made out of like transparent golden glass. And you could see inside, see straight through it. It had a cockpit where one being could sit and fly it, and there was an extraterrestrial piloting it. It was hovering off the ground. But the most interesting thing about that dream, and I made testimonial videos about to describe these dreams the day after I had the dream, or after I woke up, I testified it either that day or the next. And those videos, with their timestamps of when I uploaded it, are on my channel. So that first dream, um, and I didn't piece all this together until recently, but in that first dream, that thing was just floating amidst like a lot of people, like a crowd of people, you could say. And I don't know what was going on outside, but there was a lot of people. And that crystal sphere was just floating a few feet off the ground amidst the people, but nobody could see it. I was the only person that could see it. And when I pointed it out, the pilot of that little drone like sphere UFO started to follow me. And I essentially ran to a horse stable, and there was all these different horses in there, which in retrospect made me think of like the Four Horsemen. And there was one horse that had strangely like blood red tiger stripes, and that horse seemed to be in a bit of distress. So I don't know what that means, but that was the dream, and I relayed it in my testimony video. Exactly 1 month later, I had a dream of an extraterrestrial invasion with these giant motherships, at least one giant mothership, probably more, but I saw one, focused on one, that was landing towards the Earth. And the arrival of these beings on the ground, they were going up to people, perhaps to apprehend them or something. I never saw anything bad occur to anybody. It was only me and this one other person on top of this roof. A few beings went over to that person. That's all I saw. I didn't see anything else, so I don't want to say something bad was happening when it wasn't. I don't want to say something good was happening when I don't know. And one being came up to me, and I saw it face to face. It came right up to me, and I turned and ran. But the important thing about that dream is like I said, the only two dreams in my life where I've seen extraterrestrials. Um, and that second dream was more relevant to me because it was part of the end days prophetic dream that I've had since I was a young child. And in that dream, certain events take place. And one of the sequences um, that I would always experience, or I experience it often over the many years that I've had the dream, and it involves something large or something grand taking place in the sky amidst all the other things that were going on or whatnot that may have been going on. But in this one sequence of the dream, I would always know that something was arriving or happening up in the sky. But every time I turned to look up at it, I would wake up, or something would happen and it would draw my attention away from it. Like the dream would change or shift, or I would wake up. So I never got to see for all those years what it was actually arriving. Well, I had the same dream sequence in the same dream location, and the same dream event was taking place, but this time it came to fruition. I looked up, I saw the giant mothership coming down with the clouds, wisping around it and all of that and whatnot, and the lights on the bottom. But it was at that time, within seconds, that there were beings on the ground, and they're running up to me and this other person. So for me, that dream wasn't just a one-off sequence that I had. It played a part in this ongoing dream that I've had that kept building and building up, but I would never get to see what the actual arrival or whatever was. And then in that dream, I got to see it. So that's why it's more important. But that happened a month, exactly a month after I had the weird little drone-like dream. Now, the drone-like dream, like I said before, the only reason I'm mentioning these things is because they play in hand with what I'm talking about. That first dream, and you think about it, it kind of really is like a mystery drone. It's a small craft. It's not like an interstellar craft. It's like something that drones around. What was it doing in the dream? It was droning around like a drone, observing. And it was literally not, the people couldn't really see it, because if they had seen it, they would have been making a big deal about it. So it was invisible for some reason to the people, to the crowds of people, but for some reason I saw it. And I think the takeaway for that is that these mystery drones and spheres, as they're being described, are appearing. People aren't seeing them, or what that represents is that they don't know what they are. But some people, such as me in the dream, could see them, and that they're literally observing, following and observing people. So that's like a mystery drone event, and it took place. That dream occurred 1 month exactly before the UFO invasion dream. So I've speculated that what if 1 month after the mystery drone showed up, is in real life, maybe that's when the arrival is going to be, because maybe those dreams were given to me as some type of signs to like decipher or decode. Like you see the actual events, but as to like when they might occur and stuff, maybe that was like a cryptic thing to decipher, or maybe I'm just reaching too far into it. But nonetheless, the fact that I had those dreams before the mystery drone event started, I mean, you could see the timestamps when I upload them on my channel. Um, when the mystery drone event started, it was very freaky for me because like I had just had those type of dreams a month or so prior. So just tying those elements together, the biblical prophecies, with the mystery drone events themselves, plus my dreams, it's all those things right there are all tying together. Then we also have the Cliff Webbot prediction. The Cliff Webbot, it's not something that I ascribe to and say that it's always right. I only recently learned about it, but seeing Cliff himself in a video discuss the predictions for 2024 and 2025. And the recording was done months before the mystery drones appeared, so it couldn't be premeditated, or it couldn't be retroactively done. So the predictions that he made in that live recording, where he wasn't making them in the live recording, but he was talking about those predictions that were made decades ago with the software. And they said very specifically that in the latter end of 2024, in December, that there would be these mysterious drones essentially appearing, these unknown craft with lights. And everything he describes is exactly what ended up taking place in late November, early December. And December 3rd was supposed to be the date when, it would be like officially people are seeing these mystery drones flying around in the sky. And then a period of time after that, there would be a melee, wherever you pronounce it, melee, where like human craft would be fighting them, but also that the ET craft would be fighting one another. So like a cosmic type of battle taking place. Um, the cat's going up to the dog. What are you doing, kitty? Be careful. Um, so again, the Cliff Webbot eerily ties into my dreams, and I didn't even know about the Cliff Webbot until like the last few weeks. Um, the Cliff Webbot accurately predicted the mystery drone scenario. So even if the Webbot's not accurate in everything, and maybe it only gets some things correct, however it does it, it seems to have gotten the mystery drone scenario correct. Now, if it got that part correct, the following part that's related to the mystery drone thing is the melee, where you're going to have good and bad ETs battling each other, and human craft going up and doing whatnot, right? So it's only fair to say that since the first part of the prediction came true, that part will come true. So it's possible, I can't guarantee it, but it's possible that we will see that melee. Now, if that melee occurs, that will only further reinforce that the biblical prophecies are coming true, because according to Revelations and the other prophecies that are in the Bible, like from Jesus, we will see the stars coming down to the earth. Stars represent messengers. So when we see messengers coming down to the earth, and when Jesus arrives, that'll be a sign that it's the end of days, he says. And when Jesus arrives, we're told in countless places that he comes with the armies of heaven, and the messengers get sent out to the four corners of the world to gather the righteous and to separate the good from the bad. And then we get taken up. So the biblical prophecies, the more and more that gets fulfilled, like I said, the prophecies that detail when all this should start, meaning 2024 is the final year. All those prophecies have come true. Even the Gog Magog prophecy of Ezekiel has come true. The only thing left to occur is one big final thing to take place against Israel and Jerusalem, and then that will trigger the arrival of God and Messiah. Arguably, that may have already started, so we might just be waiting for the sudden arrival of God and Messiah. But when the final prophecies are left to take place, to come true, these are just the arrival of God and Messiah itself, and what is supposed to occur when they arrive, which is the angels, the messengers arrive with them as a great army, and they go out and help gather and separate the good from the bad and help take them up. So that's literally what is left to occur. And if we're seeing UFOs, whether good or bad, coming down to the earth now, flying all around, that's literally, it's like it's actually starting to happen, like undeniably starting to happen. Even the cat agrees, right? Isn't that right, Katie? Is that what you agree with me? So anyway, seriously. So Cliff Webbot prediction is definitely worth mentioning since I got into all that stuff. Now, aside from those things, that within itself is some pretty good, beefy evidence. But we have Nick Pope, very famous figure from the UK in UFOlogy, like ex-defense minister or something like that. I can't remember his exact title. Never bothers me to know that exact thing. He's one of the most stellar figures in UFOlogy, I would say. And Nick Pope let it slip out, you could say, in an interview he did recently, where there's going to be a big event. There's a belief in the high in the intelligence community, he said, that there will be a big event taking place in or by 2026 or 2027. This also goes in hand with this general buzz, that's this general talk through the grapevine that a big event will take place in 2025, 26 or 27, that it's basically at the door. But in terms of sources who are saying this and testifying it. So we have Nick Pope. We also have Luis Elizondo. He has alluded to similar. He's always very careful with what he says, but he's alluded to similar as well. If I'm not mistaken, Dr. Greer has also said similar, that 25, 26, or 27. There's also a gentleman I've never heard of before, but allegedly one of the alphabet dudes, an ex-alphabet dude named John Ramirez. But I'm just throwing it, even though I've never heard of him, I just threw it in there because, why not? But he said the same thing in an interview, that some big event in 26 or 27. There's also, interestingly, an old 1990s interview clip with a gentleman where they're speaking about Dreamland, Area 51, and all that type of stuff. If you've been in UFOlogy as long as I have, that was huge talk in the 90s and 2000s. But this old clip from the 90s interviewing this gentleman, I thought it was Alex Collier at first, but it's not. It's somebody else. So I'm not familiar with who it is, but nonetheless, it doesn't matter. This is like a 30-year-old clip, roughly speaking. And the gentleman in the clip was relaying, he was testifying that he was speaking to some, military or intelligence type person, someone who's in the know and part of the programs and whatever. And the person was doing their duty and was like, oh, I can't tell you this, I can't tell you that. But the interesting thing is that supposedly this person told him that I can't tell you what we know, because basically the person speaking as the witness and giving the testimony said that he was speaking to this individual, is asking him, oh, what do you have at these bases? Can you tell me like the full extent and everything that you know? Like, he wanted to know the juicy stuff. And the contact guy said that, no, I can't tell you any of that stuff. Sorry. I can't tell you anything until 2025. So that statement's right there on video. It's on record. I just can't play clips and everything for people because I think copyright or whatever with other channels. It's not worth the risk. But he said it, 2025, and that was done like 30 years ago that clip, that interview took place. So that's another individual as well, strongly alluding to 2025, some big event is going to take place. We also have a famous clip, whether it's real or not, or acted or scripted out, who knows, but it's allegedly a clip showing a U.S. soldier, African-American guy, in his soldier uniform and all that. Some people said they can identify his rank and all that. I don't know enough about military to say so, but he looks stressed out or tired from work, and he's like in the back of a truck or something, and he's giving this little brief testimonial for a few minutes. And basically, he doesn't specify anything that's going to happen, but he strongly alludes and warns people that something big is about to happen, and like people are on alert, that type of thing. So like nobody knows if that was scripted or not, but if it's real, then that again just acts as another piece of evidence for this. And then finally, there's some very interesting comments that are being made by people on various YouTube videos. Now, of course, people could be making stuff up, you don't know, but it's taking everything with a grain of salt. There was one, let me let the cat out before it drives me nuts. So anyways, the final thing, so of all the comments that I've read, some are interesting, some are thought-provoking, some are, or whatever. This one here definitely is worth reading, I think. I'm not saying I know it's real. How would I know if it's real or not? But anyways, this person here, I wouldn't say what their channel name is or anything, but it was posted very recently on a somewhat large, like popular video that a lot of people have watched at the moment. And he starts off saying, now take what I'm about to tell you with a grain of salt, please. I won't say all his specific details that he offers to everybody. He states where he lives in America. It says that a huge portion of his family serves in the Army, and he gives a lot of specifics, like how many in the Army, and how many in the Navy, how many in the Air Force, how many in the Coast Guard and the reserves. He said over 40 family members in his big family are in the Army, right? So I've glazed over any of his more private details that he shared. Now I'll read the rest of it. And again, this comment here could be fake, could be not fake, but very few people are saying that there's going to be a big UFO event amidst the populace, right? Like very few people are. I watch the videos, I see people's comments. Most people are not are not thinking that. Okay, but we do have those important figures and the important piece of evidence that strongly show that something will take place, combined with the fact that the mystery drone event itself suggests that something imminent will take place, plus the biblical prophecy. When you start looking at it like that, it really looks like something is about to take place. So it's worth considering when someone offers this little tidbit up, right? So they have a big family in the army. Now he says, now every one of them is down to earth, just like the way they were before they enlisted. They all know teamwork makes the dream work. I'm so proud of my family for their commitment and sacrifice. So the other day we had our biannual Christmas party. This year, though, we are expecting at least 30 of the service members to show up. However, only 8 of them came in, and the explanation we got from the others is they were ordered by a higher ranking official that their presence was needed for the foreseeable future. 7 members confirmed to me that they, at one point or another, heard their commanding officer say that everybody above them is on high alert and ready to go at a moment's notice. That's the significant part. Now, I'm not a journalist or crazy conspirator. I just follow crumbs to get to the meal. Now, yesterday I talked to my second oldest service member, who is a close cousin. He says, I asked him what had happened. He said he couldn't disclose too much, but what he can tell me would be enough to cause some slight hysteria, considering on what holiday we were celebrating, which would be Christmas, and with the whole UAP, UFO drone, and orb mass sightings being so frequent nowadays, that it would be better to let this just come out the way it's intended. And the guy testifying this says, now that was it. I don't want to speculate too much, but it doesn't have me leaning heavily in one direction and whatever. Who cares what he says? But that's no offense to him. I'm just saying we don't need to read the rest of it. So if this story is true, then a lot of and it could be anything. It could just be a military operation that's taking place, but it just plays in line like with what the video of the alleged African American military guy was saying, that something is imminent. This plays right in hand with that. So if this is true, I mean, it's either true or not. So 50-50, it is or it isn't. If it is true, then, and if that video is true, then those are 2 sources, military-wise, that are suggesting that something big is about to happen, big and mysterious, and the higher ups are on high alert, which will go in hand with what Nick Pope said. So this is how everything connects together. He said people high up in the intelligence community know that something big is going to happen by 2027, 26 or 27. So there we go. That's a fair bit of evidence here, I think. So I would say, even again, just going by the mystery drone events that are taking place right now, something is definitely imminent. So when you really stop thinking about what could take place, I mean, there's all sorts of scenarios, but as I've detailed before, I think the logic shows that it probably is just the biblical end of days. There's no way that all these prophecies written in the Bible will come true with, lining up in history in the right years, certain nations doing certain things. There's just no way that all that will come true. It's not. I just want to stress this fact because a lot of people don't know this. I studied most of the world's religions, so I know this. The only religion and culture, basically, on the planet that makes prophecies authoritatively, or even just in general, and documents them in books that are intended for people to read. And you could even summarize it more so that the only religion out there that makes authoritative prophecies at all is the Bible, the biblical religions, Judaism, Christianity, Tanakh and New Testament. That is the only religion. Some Native American tribes have prophecies. There is not one other religion on the planet where part of the religion's thing is that, and it's holy books or whatever, it's scripture. Let me just make sure the dog's not eating the cat food. Hey, don't touch the cat food. Okay? Don't touch the cat food. Right? It's the only religion that does that. And it doesn't just make a few prophecies, it has a lot of prophecies. It has whole books of prophecies, right? And they've all come true, right? And the ones pertaining to the end of days and when they will come true, those have come true. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's not like it's just a book that contains some predictions, like it's a book in the library or a book on the shelf or an encyclopedia. It is a book that is religious. It's meant to be an authoritative text, and the prophecies that it authoritatively dictates have come true over the span of thousands of years, as I've shown in my books, 2,500 years for some of the prophecies alone, different events taking place over a span of 2,500 years, and it gets it right to the exact year for the time spans. This stuff cannot be made up. It cannot be bogus. It has to be legit. There's no way the most conniving person, an intelligent person, could not construct a fraudulent work that makes so many accurate predictions that come true. So the Bible has to be the real deal. And if the Bible's the real deal, then we are definitely in the end of days and it's imminent. How exactly soon, I don't know, but it's got to be imminent. It would be highly improbable that all those biblical prophecies could have been fulfilled coincidentally and there's nothing to do with God in reality. Like the biblical prophecies have to be legit. Okay. And they've already been fulfilled. So it's not like we're waiting for something else. We are waiting for one last thing to happen. That's the arrival of God and Messiah, right? But if all the rest have been fulfilled, then clearly, A, the Bible's real, and the final one will be fulfilled in due time, which should be imminent. So this is my path of logic here. So I think we have all reason to believe that there will be an end of days. And at the end of days, there's a rapture from the planet. The good people get taken to a new earth, and messengers are coming down to do all of this. So it's going to be an alien arrival, fleets from the heavens. They might even look like us, and all that's irrelevant what they look like, but they could look like us. And they will come down, separate the good from the bad, take the good up to go up with Jesus into the heavens to a new earth, right? Jesus and his forces are going to be fighting the bad aliens in a great cosmic battle, like the Bible details. This is what is supposed to occur. Like that is exactly what is supposed to occur. So, and it even talks about how like the kings and the people will go hide in the mountains, you know, in like these secret bases and stuff for safekeeping and try to hide from the face of the Lamb or of Jesus when he arrives, right? So, which is exactly what people say is going to happen at this type of end days, or even from an ET invasion perspective, that they would go, the people would go down into these underground safe bunkers and stuff. Um, so, anyways, I think that's what the evidence shows. I've got to get going. So, but anyways, thank you for coming by, man. If these UFO drone things hadn't happened, I will say the Israel conflict for the last year as well. That's evidence as well that's related to all this. But I'm not rewording everything that I said. I forgot to mention it. Um, but everything together, and especially the mystery drone thing taking place, it's got to mean that something is imminent. Something is about to happen. Whether it's biblical or not, we have to wait and see. But based on all the evidence that I've just gone through, it's probably going to be biblical. Um, so that's all I can say. Um, are the aliens fooling us with religion? I mean, why would they waste their time? It's just, it'd be ridiculous to think that humans would advance, fly to another planet, and they play silly mind games with the monkeys on another planet. You know what I mean? If for aliens to do that to us, I'm not saying that Satan and the fallen angels don't do that, but I'm just saying aliens in general. If we're trying to say in the hypothetical scenario that God isn't real and aliens are just going to invade and we're being subjected to them, what are they going to claim that they invented religion to control and manipulate us? My point is, why would an advanced species go to another planet and try to play mind games with monkeys? It's a complete waste of their time and dignity. They're not going to do that or waste their time doing it. So it doesn't benefit them whatsoever. So I wouldn't put it past any bad aliens trying to claim they created us. Um, but I don't think that's what's going to happen to this earth. I don't think we have to fear some godless ET invasion in a scenario, and like we're going to have to face a reality where there is no God. In that maybe all religion was just a lie from the aliens. I don't think that's a plausible scenario, period. God has to exist. He has to be real. He's the only thing that explains existence, Big Bang, and everything. The only solution to all that mystery is God. There has to be a God, and no matter how advanced any alien is, sorry for my throat, doesn't deny the fact that it had to be created, just like any other created thing. So there will always be a God, if you ask me. And anyways, let me just, I got to get going. So 30 minutes, that's good enough. But yeah, don't say I didn't warn you though. There's definitely something that's going to happen. Um, I really hope it is a biblical thing and not a godless thing, but we have to wait and see. I, of course, would like to say that I believe it's, and the evidence for that it is biblical is that we don't have anything bad happening with these mystery drones. They're not hurting people, attacking people. If they had been, they would look more gloomy. However, they're not. So that plays in hand with they're the good ones here to prepare for the end of days rapture and all that arrival. So, anyways, take care, folks, and God bless. Have a good time, good holidays, and all that.